7:52 at 93.3 KIOA. In the studio with us this morning. He's at the Funny Bone tonight and tomorrow night. Frank Caliendo, everybody.
Yay, me! Hakuna Matata.
We brought you into the building, and everybody has to get a piece of you, a chunk of you. You're like a piece of meat, Frank. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, well, I love to be tenderized. I don't know.
Do an impression, puppet.
That's what happens. That's my whole life is people like, do this, do that. But I actually don't mind because it's better than you stink, which I get every once in a while.
Oh, good point. Okay.
Yeah, that's what people say. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, it could be way worse. Think about the things you could be saying. Just get it on the internet. I like that you guys have your Packers and Bears jersey.
Yeah, they totally prepared for you,
this is only my
man.
boss.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Let's keep that in mind.
Our boss is a semi-personality on the morning show.
Okay.
He has a full personality in real life, but he's
I'll tell you what, man. I'm going John Gruden on this, man. I'll take a look at that Aaron Rodgers. This guy is unbelievable. I haven't seen anybody that good since Brett Favre, man. That guy. Yeah, he might come back. I got to go John Madden. Anytime you talk about Brett Favre, you think about. Yeah, but. Isn't Brett Favre times 3 Aaron Rodgers, man? Think about that for a second.
It really is. And when you think about all the things and all the things he can do,
I love John Gruden because he's so positive. Like a piano could fall on him, and he'd be like, "I'll tell you what, man, that hurt a little bit, but it sounded pretty cool, and my sinuses are cleared, man." Really didn't expect that. Who needs an ear, nose, and throat doctor?
Is there any player?
I'll tell you what, I love, man. That's how great it is. Remember back in when you were a kid and you get those little hearts with the sayings on it? Whoever wrote those sayings, that person was a pretty amazing person, man.
So you're on ESPN now and not Fox?
Yeah, over at ESPN, which is fun because when I first went to ESPN, they're like, and Fox had just kind of run its course. We'd done everything we could do, and I didn't even think I wanted to do any more football stuff. And they said, "What? Can you do any people here at ESPN?" I'm like, I don't know if there's anybody to do. Then I started watching ESPN more closely and realized there's more characters on ESPN than there are on Cartoon Network. Stephen A. Smith comes to mind, if you know who he is. If you don't know who he is, just watch ESPN and grab a thesaurus to try and figure it out. Because he has words. I'm not smart enough to know if he's using the right words. They'll ask him a question like, what do you think of big? I completely, utterly, and quadrilaterally deny everything you just said.
Yeah, because you were used to Terry Bradshaw.
I tell you what, come on. That's what I'm talking about.
Pam is a huge fan of Terry.
No, I'm not.
She hates Terry Bradshaw.
I'll tell you, the funniest thing I've seen Terry ever do, and usually when he does funny stuff, it's not on purpose. It's first of all, did you hear about the commercial Terry Bradshaw turned down? Neither have I. The Nutrisystem commercial, because those Nutrisystem commercials are always so run right through. They make sense.
Yeah,
it's like Terry wrote his own commercial. Like Terry's like, I'll do the commercial, but you're gonna have to let me make it up. All right. So his commercial was, I was tired of being fat and ugly. What's Nutrisystem going to do to help you with ugly? What did they cut out of the commercial, right? I was tired of being fat and ugly, and I couldn't spell too good. But then I took Nutrisystem. Now I got Wikipedia in my brain. What do you...
Who's the bigger blowhard, Charles Barkley or Terry Bradshaw?
Actually, they're very different types of people. Terry's one of those guys that anytime I was ever near him, he would hit me when he would talk. And Howie the same way. I don't know if it's just a football thing, but you'd be getting smacked like, "Hey, Frank, come here, do some John Madden. Come on, that's funny stuff." Meanwhile, he's just panging me in the shoulder. I'm like, "Geez, what are you doing?" Barkley. When I met Charles Barkley, well, actually, I'll just talk about this. Actually, meeting him was great because he's like, so we do this thing for the Phoenix Suns a few months ago. A charity event, and I talked to him before, and I'm like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go up on stage, do 3 minutes about you, then I'm going to do 25 other minutes, and then come back and talk about you last couple minutes at the end, and then that's when you come up and make fun of me. And he's like, that sounds really, really good. Let's do that. So I'm up there for a minute and a half. Next thing I knew, Barkley's standing next to me. I'm like, what are you doing up here? He's like, I couldn't take it anymore. Everybody said I had to get up here and defend myself. And then he had this great line. He's like, don't you have anything better to do than sit around your house pretending to be me? I looked at him and I was like, don't be ridiculous. He's like, I don't say ridiculous. I say ridiculous. I said, you just said it, knucklehead. He said, that's terrible. Ridiculous or terrible for a former athlete.
Do you have any new voices?
Yeah, I mean, most of them are the sports people, so it doesn't even, that's because that's what I've been doing with ESPN. That's where all the new stuff has been. So it's one of those things where not everybody gets it. Like a couple weeks ago, I did the Ditko one. You guys mentioned.
We got to have a little Ditko.
Well, I got to be honest with you guys, just don't finish the sentence. I didn't go to the next thing. That's what he does. And if you make it a little more,
I feel like I need closed captioning with him.
Right,
these
and a
days.
little more. If you go a little more cartoony, it's Lou Holtz. You guys, I gotta figure this out. That's what football is all about. But I did a guy, Adam Schefter, who's the NFL insider at ESPN, and he's one of those guys. He's a great guy, but he's always got information for you. And sometimes the information, when you think about it, it really is nothing. He'll be like, according to my sources, at this particular time, it appears Tom Brady's yawn during pregame warm-ups was, in fact, just a yawn. So it's a yawn. And earlier reports that it was some sort of oxygen deprivation disorder were highly exaggerated. That's... And the people, and meanwhile there's people going, I gotta change my bet.
It's
Frank
true.
Caliendo, everybody, at the Funny Bone tonight and tomorrow night. It's just such a pleasure to have you in here.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks.
Iowa's greatest hits, Maxwell, Pam, and Heather. 93.3